Hey guys, it's Matty from Carpentry Australia. I'm here in our brand new studio with the fantastic Joe Van Strijp from JTW Building Group. Thanks for being here today, mate.
Thanks for having me, Matty.
Just before we get stuck into it, I do want to give a massive shout out to Elton from EcoDeck, who's one of our main contacts through Carpentry Australia. He actually hooked us up with this EcoDeck castellated cladding that's at the back of the wall. It looks unreal. It's sort of brought us to the next level, and thanks so much, mate. We love EcoDeck. So, Joe, tell me a little bit about yourself, and I'd love to hear where the history of Van Strijp comes from.
Yeah, thank you. So originally Dutch background. So Dad came out from Holland when he was 8 and decided to live in the hills and essentially set up a business in actually Baronia, not far from here, in the pine industry, so pine furniture. He would make anything from beds, slats, side rails, anything pine furniture you can imagine. That was Dad. And he became quite successful. Like, he expanded his business, and it's been said that someone from one side of Mount Dandenong to the other would know windmill pine furniture on the corner, because everyone would see the big windmill and know it was him.
Yeah.
But more importantly, his customer service, and I think his ethics shone through the business, and that was like an extension of him. So I think that's where the love and inspiration for the building industry comes from, is working with timber, and then started a carpentry apprenticeship and moved my way through. But he's sort of the drive, and the Van Strijp family name comes from Holland, but we're all Aussie and been here quite some time. But very proud of our background, but more importantly, proud of the good character formation and good business ethics that Dad instilled in us as kids.
And did you see him obviously as a mentor growing up, like in building? And is that where you sort of drew a lot of your inspiration? Definitely. So it was probably the inspiration to take on a formal apprenticeship, and carpentry was sort of a natural extension of what we were already doing. I think because I was working with timber quite a lot as a young child, it gave me an appreciation for working with my hands. And were you the only one in the family that got into a trade, or?
It was a big family, so I'm one of 12. That's right. 8 boys, 4 girls, and I think we've got a big spread, but there's an electrician, and we've got a tradie in the family who's also with white goods doing electronics as well. Yeah. He's quite talented. But the others, no, I'm the only one that's pursued the building carpentry space, but there's a few other tradies. Okay.
And when did you finish your apprenticeship?
So I did 4 years and finished in 2003.
Yep.
And started subbing for a few years for builders. Got a bit disillusioned with the building industry, to be honest, Matty. I was a bit frustrated with where it was heading. I found it quite unethical, frustrating, because builders wouldn't pay you on time. They wouldn't treat you very well. You'd just be treated as another number. And it was mainly for volume builders. And then even when I started working for custom builders, I just found that I was giving my all but wasn't being really rewarded well. So I left the building industry after probably 6 or 7 years being in it, and then went into martial arts full time. And basically did a traineeship in sales, marketing and business management. It was all hands-on, no formal qualifications. And I was doing martial arts on the side as well as doing carpentry.
What type of martial arts?
So the first style I did was kickboxing kung fu.
Yep.
That was great, because I started my black belt there and started teaching. And then when I went into this full time, this was through GKR Karate. It's the largest traditional Japanese karate club in the world. Fast tracked it and earned a management program promotion to Adelaide. Went there for over 4 years. And then we built the largest karate club there for just over 4 years, which was an amazing experience. Like, living the dream. That was always what I wanted to do, was to pass on my passion for martial arts to kids and families. But then, after that sort of tenure finished up, I got married and settled down, started having kids, moved back to Melbourne. It wasn't really family friendly, being out every night teaching and tournaments and training. I was married to the business.
It's full on.
It was intense. It was great, but it was too much.
I only say that because I've got a history in film and TV. And when I was going through acting training, I actually studied with James Chung, who is William Chung's son, who the founder of Wing Chun. He trained with Bruce Lee.
Fantastic.
And grew up on the streets with him, and it was quite fascinating to sort of hear that story. And obviously his love for martial arts, I heard about it every day. That was sort of what we talked about. And
that's awesome.
It's just a cool connection.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you moved back to Melbourne. You started a family.
It wasn't
obviously building, I guess, this is a good question, how do you make building family friendly?
Yeah, good. It's a great segue, matey, because I trialled out on a few other different sales opportunities thinking that my strength zone was with people and sales, and I enjoyed it. Almost all 3 or 4 of those opportunities became learning experiences that drove me passionately to start my own business. And it was mainly because of the lack of ethics in business, and I felt I'd built up enough life skills and experience to start my own carpentry business. And that's when, with the great help of a few apprentices to get us up and running and the confidence to start doing small things, we eventually had the patience. And I've got to mention my wife, because without her there's no way I'd be a builder. I hate study, and went back to study and DBL, DBU, and yeah, it's been worthwhile, but the passion was because I wasn't satisfied in working for other people that weren't treating you the way you should be treated. And that was a big focus for us, is that I made a commitment that part of our mission statement would be, if we are to become a builder, if we are to run our own business, one of the number one priorities is to make sure that the employees or the people in our team get treated really well. Almost an extension of family, and that brings me to the family-friendly hours, family-friendly projects, trying to avoid going and doing union work or city work, or it's more residential, it's more domestic, it's mums and dads, it can be investors, but it's more down to earth. And I think that's where the great satisfaction comes, when you complete a project particularly and you look back and the relationships are still strong at the end.
Yeah, and you can see exactly what you've done, and you see the smiles on their faces.
Yeah, it's a great thing. So it's a big part of it, but it's a culture that takes a long time to build. And I think if you got that at the beginning, at the start, as your mission statement and your modus operandi, you know where you're headed, then like-minded people will be attracted. It's a tall order to live it. It's not easy. So you've got to constantly, it's a daily struggle to keep yourself accountable.
I think even since we first met, when did your relationship with Carpentry Australia start? When did you first become a member? Because I think it's been a little while.
Yeah, well, you might educate me on this. When was the first time Carpentry Australia had a stall at Bowen's?
I think
at
maybe
the expos.
Might have been 2018. But for me, I was definitely there in 2018.
It was Rosie.
Oh, Rosie. Okay.
Rosie.
It might have been even earlier then.
So I remember her strong English accent. And I remember walking up going, Carpentry Australia. I was like, what's that? Never heard of it. And she was amazing and polite and friendly and bubbly. And I was like, I'll take a card and have a chat. And she was great. And so she followed through and rang me up, and really impressed that Carpentry Australia was driving hard to help chippies just improve their professionalism, their knowledge base, support. I thought, this is an excellent organisation. I've got to get behind them. So I threw my money at them and went, let's go. And I've been with you guys pretty much ever since. But that would have been, what's that?
That's about 10 years ago.
About 10 years?
Yeah. So it's crazy to think that Rosie hasn't been with the business since, I think, 2018, 2019. She ended up starting a family and moving back home as well. But people still talk about it.
Still talk about it?
Yeah, people still talk about Rosie. Yeah,
it's a good sign.
And hopefully, maybe in 10 years, people will be like, yeah, mate, I hope I have that kind of impression.
I'm sure it will be.
So, long time sort of working with us. And I think the one thing that I've seen over the years is that you've created your own network, and you've been hosting your own sort of events and nights and stuff. Can you tell me where that all comes from?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Matty. So that was sort of born, it's called the Ethical Trades Network. It's a fancy term for a couple of business owners getting around, having a beer on a Saturday night. But to be serious, it was born out of COVID, where a lot of the, particularly carpentry and building networks or friends that I knew were struggling, really struggling to keep their businesses afloat, going through the blues. Their mental health was no good, and there was, some serious mental health concerns. So a mate of mine, we both sort of brainstormed, another builder, and he said, we should get together some of these businesses that are struggling and try and help them level up a bit. And you've got a lot of professional experience, and I've got a lot to add. And I said, great, when are you starting it? He said, no, you're going to start it. Cool. So he literally handballed it to me, and it was just an idea, and now it's taken off. It's not flying. We're certainly open to growth. It's no money down. It's purely a value add to others. There's no ulterior motive at all. If anything, it's all about just giving and just seeing if we can help people. And we learn a lot. Saturday night we had a presentation by a wonderful architect from the city, and she was outstanding. So Emma Holmes from Formery, and she spoke about her journey and what she's looking for, you know, with ideal clients and builders, and how we can cross collaborate, how we can improve our skills, communication. And that's what I love is, like other builders, I don't look at them as competitors. I look at it as cross collaboration, and how can we work together? This is your niche, this is my niche. How can we help each other?
And what's one of the really great things that's come, obviously being able to host people from different parts of the industry and, you know, let them speak on their experience, and for us to learn from it is great. But what's one of the greatest things that's come from hosting an ethical trades night and, you know, that network?
Yeah, it adds a little bit more onto your plate. But because I'm so passionate about my industry, I'm trying to help it level up. And I think the drive there to want it to be better, which means I have to be better. And if I'm not at the top of my game or striving to be at the top of my game, then how can I expect, you know, the industry to follow suit? So it's more about demanding myself to be the best that I can be. And then hopefully in turn that sort of rubs off or flows onto other businesses. But I do enjoy it. I love learning. I think, you know, student of growth, you have to always keep open-minded. There's always someone that knows something better or more, or better way to do something. So if we can work as a team and not look at it as competition, I think we all grow together.
Yeah. And that sort of learning, I think that comes from martial arts as well.
I think so.
It's just never the master, always the student.
Very much so. Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
So what, by your definition, what is the ethical tradesman or the ethical tradesperson?
Yeah, it's a good question. I get that a lot, actually. A lot of people say, I see it on your website.
What does it mean?
Yeah, well, the word ethical is to basically to be transparent, to say what you mean, to mean what you say. It's not actually difficult. If you were to turn back the clock maybe less than a generation, the old school tradies contract was a shake of the hand, and it was your word. And people would hang their hat on your word. And, you know, you said you're going to be there at 7 on Monday, you were there at 7 on Monday. They say it's going to be X amount, you know, for this project, it was X amount for that project. So it's the small things, you know, the treating people's home the way you want them to treat your own home. It's treating people the way you want to be treated. But it's even deeper than that. It's having a sense of doing the right thing even when no one else is looking. And I think that's probably what stands out a lot. You know, people see your trades, you know, you can't micromanage people. You can't always be looking at what they're doing. But if you know they've got good ethics, you know they'll fit the model of your team, the culture builds, the reputation's there. And then as a flow on, people see that good ethics is good business. You know, people want to do business with people they know, like and trust. So if you're unethical, it's not surprising that you're out of work because no one trusts you. And it all starts with trust. You know, if you can build trust, you can build anything. So that's something that we're really focused on.
What about when you're meeting with clients and because you do a lot of home renovations and new builds and knockdowns, and I think you've sort of expanded. You do quite a lot now compared to the past few years. What is that sort of initial spark of that relationship like? You know, how do you sort of win over the client and, you know, deliver that sort of high quality, I guess, from the get-go? You know, do you follow any certain steps, or is there a procedure that JTW sort of follows? How does it work?
It's a good question, because in the beginning there was nothing. It was all just ad hoc, and now we've really, through the help of some great mentors and some good mentors that have helped us create processes. We've had some previously, but they've got better. It basically looks like an initial phone call or initial email will come in. Even though we're trying to automate and use AI in our business, we're trying to stay on top of the latest trends and efficiencies, there's still the old school customer service of just get on the phone and call someone. You know, even if you're busy on the road, just have that personal, warm phone call so that they know you're a real person. You know what you're talking about. You actually say who you are and you are what you say. It's just the transparency. People want to know that they're speaking to a real person that can build their home or do their reno. A typical example, Maddie, would be yesterday. We received a phone call from a 84-year-old lady. Bless her. She was just in Belgrave South, where we live. And she's like, I've seen your signs. And I said, wow, that's great. How'd you hear about us? And she said, we spoke to the IGA at Belgrave South. Oh, great. Yes, they are local. We got a little board there. And we just did a reno for them. Just, you know, they had two run-ins and 2 hold-ups recently. And so we replaced some works, and she said they were raving about you. I said, "You're kidding me." She said, "No." The lady said, "Oh, what's this builder like? Is he any good? Is he a charlatan?" No. She said, "He's wonderful. Go and speak to him."
Yeah.
I said, "Thank you. That's amazing. That's the best, referral you can get."
Yeah, that's the review you want.
It is, yeah. And even though she's 84, she's passionate about finally building and doing something serious to pass on to the grandkids. And I thought, that's wonderful. So we'll go and pop in next week and see if we can look after her.
Awesome. With your team, to be able to do something so professional and sort of hold it to a certain standard, have you got quite a few apprentices? Have you got some qualified? Are you still looking for anyone? What's the go there?
Yeah, so we've just taken on a first year at the start of this year in January. Yeah. We did trial the subby model and we found it was good, but we probably could do better with building an internal team.
Yep.
And like some of the other carpenters and builders that I know in our networks, watching them, they've been an inspiration for me, how they've empowered them to grow and develop and take them on board. So we've got a first year now, Shin, who's just recently took out the HIA Apprentice of the Year for Carpentry for first year.
Amazing.
Well, we're really wrapped with that. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So well done, Shin. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
And then we've just taken on a first year apprentice, a first year labourer, I should say. Mm-hmm. And that's been the leading hand's son. Yep. So father-son team, which is good.
Oh, that's great.
And then just recently in the last month, we've taken on a gun subby who used to work for Carlisle Homes, and he's now jumping on board and it looks like he'll be a permanent fixture. So we're slowly growing, but sustainable, and just it's got to be the right fit.
Yeah, of course. And what do you look for? Like, what makes someone a good fit?
Yep.
Like what makes someone a great chippy?
Yeah.
What are you really looking for? Because I'm always interested to hear from builders of what they're looking for from carpenters.
Yep.
And just because we want to obviously elevate our chippies as much as possible.
Yep. And before I forget, thank you for helping us expose those advertisements, because we love using the Carpentry Australia networks, because I much prefer to find someone within the current networks than just randomly.
Anytime.
So thank you. I'm really grateful for that. But again, it's pretty simple. They have to just be professional. Mm-hmm. If they can't manage their own backyard, if they've got so much stuff going on and they bring it all to work, I say to the guys, I'm here for you, but at the end of the day, bring your best self. I'm not your babysitter, I'm not your mother. Don't bring your dirty laundry to work. Yeah. Do your laundry on the weekend, come sharp, well prepared, and be organised and be professional. So we will instill that, we'll try and train that, monthly meetings, we'll try and just inject that into the team just bit by bit. But to answer your question, if they've got great skills but poor attitude, I won't take them on. If they've got good skills but a great attitude, they're already past the first interview stage. Yeah. I can't work with someone if you've got a bad attitude. Yeah. There's some things that are instilled in people that you've either got it or you don't. If you're willing to learn and develop it, that's great. So the big thing is really attitude. If you've got great attitude, good communication skills, we can teach you the rest. Yeah. The carpentry comes, I think, if you're willing and passionate about the industry, it will grow.
And do you feel like moulding, I know that there's a lot of other business owners that we've spoken to that do like to do exactly what you're talking about, where they like to mould their own team.
Yeah.
And, not that there's only one right way to do things, but it just allows you to run your business in a more efficient way. It also allows you to, know exactly where your carpenters and apprentices are at in terms of their sort of skill level and I guess what your expectations are. Do you have any tips on sort of expectations out of apprentices and what you sort of want to see from them?
Yeah, good. So first year, if we're talking specifically carpentry, first year it's obviously a low expectation, but yet the big one would be to have it spelt out for them before they begin, so that it's not too verbal. I'm finding that having a process and a system is great, because at least they've got a so to speak, a track or a runway or something to hang their hat on that they can go back to and say, how am I going? Performance reviews are really important as well. But I think first year, it's more about just the basic expectations about being on time, being professional, asking questions, constantly be asking what's next, just being a sponge, just absorb. Because the first year, it's all quite overwhelming, and you're either gone from school or uni or wherever it is to just go straight into a trade, and it's intense.
Yeah, they might not have worked before.
No, that's right. Yeah, a lot of them are exhausted in their first year. Like they've never worked as hard before in their life. They're physically drained. So it's just about working with them and trying to work out, is this a good fit early? Because you don't want to pour too much time and attention into someone who's already got 1 foot out the door.
Yeah.
On the flip side, I always put a 10 on everyone's head until they prove me otherwise.
And what about trade school? Do you use sort of on-site training, or do you send them to trade school? Like, what's your preference? How do you?
Yeah, the on-site model is good, but we don't do everything, every aspect of carpentry, particularly the joinery, for instance. Like Shin is a Japanese background, and he really loves the joinery side of things with his traditional culture, which is beautiful. So really, when it comes to stairs, for example, like Murray's teaching him stairs during the week, it was fantastic. But when it comes to sort of the intricate joinery, it's great that he does the in-TAFE model. So we've sort of reverted back to the in-TAFE model so that he can maximise the, I suppose, the, not rigidness, but the methodical approach to learning, where he's got time to sit down and absorb it and reflect and ask questions, versus on-site, it's go, go, go.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And where does he go to trade school?
He's at Holmes-Glen in Chadstone.
Okay, nice. We've got a good. We actually Holmes-Glen were one of the schools that competed in our competition. At the Carpentry Expo.
Oh, cool.
So they all built like it was like a bridge that they made, and it was who could sort of withstand the most weight, and what was sort of the most attractive one. I think Melbourne Polytechnic ended up taking out the win, but Holmes-Glen was involved, and we've got a lot of students through Holmes-Glen. So hopefully it's a good spot for him.
Awesome. Yeah, he's loving it.
Yeah. What does the next sort of 6 to 12 months look like for JTW? Is any projects that you really want to knock over and start some new stuff, or have you got a bit of a grander plan, or what's the...
My big, hairy, audacious goal is to actually restore churches and cathedrals. So my boys were watching the restoration of Notre Dame last night.
Oh, wow.
And it was amazing, like seeing the fire collapse and seeing it rebuild was... It was probably I think it was France's largest reconstruction ever of a cathedral. And
have they finished it?
They finished it. Yeah, they finished it. It was open last year. It was phenomenal.
Wow.
Now, Australia's not as traditional in that sense, and there's not as many opportunities, but I would say it's probably some of the most rewarding work I've ever done is working on churches. It's unique. You're constantly relearning some of the stone masonry and some of the, even the carpentry, like the very customised work is not seen. It's very rare. So that would be my ideal, place to stay and work in. So if that eventuates, I'll be wrapped. But one day we'll get there. In the interim, it's extensions, it's renovations.
Do you still do the odd church? Like, have you got?
We do occasionally. Like it's more smaller renovations for it rather than the large ones. And I particularly like restoring, because there's a lot of satisfaction in bringing something back to life.
I think we recently had Joe Canavan on who actually restored one of I think it's the church that he goes to. And I thought that was pretty amazing. He was talking about how he used all the old materials and sort of brought it back to its sort of original state, and very passionate about sort of using. So it's cool that there's been a couple of blokes that are keen on the same thing.
He's a wonderful young man. He's he was my first apprentice. And he's did a beautiful job. The church looks beautiful. So. Yeah, but in the interim, and it's extensions. We're now able to do knockdown rebuilds, which is good. But for now, we'll stay in the extension renovation space.
What do you think? So when did you obtain your DBU? Because I know you went DBL then DBU. Do you think there was anything, did you like that process of sort of getting the limited first and then going on to get the unlimited?
I know it's a good question, because a lot of guys just go straight to the DBU. My situation was unique in the sense that I'd been out of the building industry for a while. So I had to sort of collate my portfolio and get the experience together. The challenge was I was running my own business versus being a project manager working for a carpentry or construction company under a builder.
Or on wages or
and because I was running my own business, I wasn't able to be exposed to the all the experience as a project manager or leading hand under a licensed builder. I was doing carpentry. So that was tricky. It was hard. So the DBL was just like a stepping stone, gave me the confidence to go back to study, and then it was like, really should be doing DBU because the work that we're doing is good, but it limits you. And so hence we went back to study again, and it was laborious but worth it.
And when were you checked off for the DBU?
So I think it was 2 or 3 years ago now. Big relief, and I think it was...
You would have been happy when you got that letter in the mail.
Oh, it was huge. It was huge. It's a big relief. I think just like any other formal degree, but this was a real fork in the road for me. It just opened up doors, and again, it was something that I'd strived for a long time, so I was very happy.
Well done, mate.
Yeah,
You've
thank
done
you.
all the work. It's been 20 plus years.
Yes, yeah.
In the game to actually get there. So
Yeah.
you should be proud of yourself.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
So smaller renovations and the type of work that you guys are doing at the moment. Are there any sort of things that stick out that carpenters might sort of overlook when they're taking on a reno job? And because we're always trying to help people avoid sticky situations. And is it sort of over ordering on certain materials to make sure that you're covered, or is it really double checking sort of everything that you've promised to the client before you sign the contract?
Yep.
Like how do you, when you're going to a reno, because reno can be,
It's hard.
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. You can't see between walls.
Yeah.
It's a good question. So we've sort of tried to learn from every single job, and we do a little bit of a review, reflect, reset after every job to see what worked well, what could have been improved. Software has helped. So we've linked in with Build Exact and Wonder Build now we're moving towards, and they've been great. Just giving us the attention to detail to check everything before we start. Yeah. Just again, having a process sets you free. Yeah. Whereas if you get in there and just give it a go, well, you'll learn the hard way. Yeah. So I think training the team as well, having regular meetings, check-ins, like we do productivity huddles, 10 and 2 every day. Yep. So the leading hand's got that support. He's got someone there that can just double check everything, make sure he's on track. It's busy. There's a lot going in your head. So if you don't have anything written down or processes or schedules that are formalised, it's hard. It's not an easy industry. So, but with renos, it's a high attention to detail. It's always checking your work. It's having a competent leading hand carpenter, particularly, who knows what they're doing. Checking everyone else's work before you move on to another task is something we're really focused on at the moment. Yeah.
And what about so I think one of the main things that we wanted to ask was, have you ever had a job that goes really pear-shaped and then there was a good result at the end of it?
Yeah.
Because we had one recently where I think a whole brick wall had been built by this brickie, and the client came down and was like, what's this? Looks terrible. Oof. And the builder hadn't seen it yet, that was managing the job, and then had to get the other brickie down, and obviously it had to be redone, but obviously it was a very pricey type of thing. But then I think he ended up building a better relationship with this brickie, and then he sort of went on to do some really high quality work afterwards, and it was almost like the kick up the arse that he needed. It was a good result at the end. But if you had any jobs that sort of went pear-shaped and that you've been able to fix?
You got me thinking, Matty. I'm struggling to think of any. We've had one recently where the client was really unsure of the finished result before we started. Like they had plans but it constantly changed along the way. And that is really tricky because you always, you're dealing with change normally, but in an extension renovation space, once you sign contracts and you've got to order things, you can't keep changing your mind. Yeah. So we've had some challenges in that space. I wouldn't say we put walls in wrong spots or things, but I think because of the always checking and being methodical, you learn from previous mistakes. But no, I think with good communication, nothing's impossible.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And with your network of builders and the people that you attend several different sort of business things about learning, and I think I was grabbing a coffee the other morning. I heard you talking on the mic down in Beaconsfield.
I just come from Beaconsfield this morning. Yeah, B&I.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So they're really good.
They're great. Yeah. Actually, that's a really good point. I highly recommend joining networking groups, more so you can really become better, like a better person. You're learning professionalism, you're learning how to talk, you're learning how to communicate with people. And I think if you've got an attitude of gratitude and your openness to ongoing growth and development, it's only going to serve you in your interests better. Yeah. You get out of your comfort zone, join a networking group and just put yourself out there, I suppose. Yeah.
And what do you think makes a good builder versus a great builder?
Yeah, I think integrity is probably number one. Yeah, because like I was saying earlier, unless clients trust you and they know that you're genuine, you won't get the deal over the line. Or if you do get over the line, they'll be constantly suspicious of, is he doing the right thing? Is he overcharging us, etc., etc. I think good builders are willing to just say it as it is, and they're actually willing to forego work and give the right advice. So a typical example would be we had a call out to a job in Belgrave because we're in the hills, and the block was like this. And the guy was like, "Oh, what are we going to do? We'll do an extension, do this." I said, listen, I'll do myself out of a job and that's okay, but the most important thing is you get the right advice. I said, if you do an extension on this, you'll probably pour somewhere between 6 to 800K into the project.
Yep.
You'll build a brand new one for probably close to the same. My recommendation is if you're seriously, looking at options, maybe sell and find a flatter block somewhere, get more bang for your buck.
Yep.
And he was like, no one's ever said anything like that. Where are you going to try and sell me? And I said, no.
Yeah.
It's not about me. It's about you. This is why I'm here. I'm here to help you. So I think the bad builders are just in it for themselves. We saw a lot of that. We saw 13,000 builders go under since 2003. 13.
Yeah.
So the last 3 years, 13,000 builders go under. That's a lot of builders.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of builders. COVID's put a wrecking ball through our industry. You've seen that. I've seen that. And so the bad builders stand out. Yeah. And so to answer your question, I think it's more about helping people and adding value to people first, and then saying, here's the invoice for the for the work that you've done. Yeah. And you've got to add value, otherwise why pay a bill? If the guys have done a good job, they deserve to get paid. And rightly so. So add value, and then ask.
Yeah,
is my philosophy. Yeah.
Well, where do you think because there's obviously been a lot of changes in the 20 plus years that you've sort of have been in and out of the industry. Where do you think it's going? Like, a lot of people that are concerned.
Good question.
There's people that are optimistic. Where do you sit?
Yeah, actually, we spoke about it this morning at our networking group. The question was, what are some of the innovations in your industries? And they're building in Houston, Texas, for example, like not just entire homes with 3D printers, but entire cities. Yeah. Like, it's phenomenal. And you look at it and you're like, is this really happening? And it is. So AI is taking over in a way. And I've been told from some professionals that the trade sector is probably one of the last areas where AI will struggle to automate because of the intricacies of our work. Yeah. Those that sort of bury their head under the sand, just tuck it under the carpet and think it's all going to go away are probably going to lose their businesses, in my opinion, and go under. And the advice is that don't be scared of it, adopt it, learn it, and then implement it so that you're now using it in your business to grow. Yeah. You'll be ahead of the curveball if you do that, rather than just watching it sort of take over. So where's it going? I think people have got now a lot more information than what they had previously. Yeah. So when I first started my apprenticeship, it was all, the roofing book was there, and your boss was there, everyone was there, and you learnt, father to son, builder to, first year apprentice. Now a lot of people are working and learning remotely and digitally, and it's a different learning experience. Yeah. Some can adapt quite well. So I think if there's anything that the industry needs more of, it's more personalisation, more customisation, more customer service, because that will be the standout. And that's why I think traditional businesses that go back to the core roots of ethics do shine and stand out.
Well, you can't beat that, because that's sort of, I've been in this sort of sales management role for a little while now, and I started with CA back in 2017, 2018, so it's been a little while. Yeah. And I feel like the one thing that sort of has stood out over those years is that if I'm kind to people, and if I give them the right advice, and I'm always telling them the truth, I'm always letting them know, look, if I don't have the right answer, I'm going to find the right answer for you.
That's it.
And be a source of truth. People come back to you for anything, so that sort of level of trust is built from being honest and from, not taking people for a ride. And I think it translates across to tradies as well, is having that personal approach and understanding people. And you can be a great chippy, but you do have to be good with people as well. Yes. If you want to be able to run a successful business.
Yeah, definitely.
So what about, is there any myths, any building myths out there that you'd like to crack? Or anything out of you go, that's just not true.
There's a couple. I think one of the things would be that just because you've got a title doesn't mean you know everything. And I don't want to speak out of turn too much, but I think building surveyors, structural engineers, and even builders to a certain degree, if you're not sure about something or something doesn't make sense, query it. Don't just take it as gospel, because we're all human. We make mistakes. Yeah. A typical example was a project we were on a couple of months ago, and the building surveyor said, "Oh, you're going to have to put another 15 stumps under here before you go up." I said, that's not what the structurals say. And I was just a bit unsure. So I queried it. I went to the structural engineer, and the structural engineer spoke to the building surveyor. Anyway, I got them all cross-collaborating and finally communicating. And I was right. And he said, I made a mistake. So I think the big thing I'd like to crack is, let's get more professionals on site so they can physically see what's going on, rather than just remotely, these are the structurals, these are the computations, it's all done and checked. But I'd like to see more personalisation. I'd like to see a bit more humility in the industry and a bit more collaboration and communication. Because once you find a good building surveyor or a good structural engineer or a good builder, you bring them onto your A-team. And you don't let them go. You look after them. You sort of make them an offer they can't refuse. And I think that's good, because you know, like and trust each other. They've got to be professional and do good work.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, the big myth is just because you've got the DBU next to your name doesn't mean you're bulletproof and you know everything. Not at all.
No,
not at all. It's just a reflection of the work you've done. It's obviously professional registration that you need in order to operate as a licensed builder. Or whatever the title is, but far from it. I see it as a black belt. Once you get to your black belt, that's when the learning really begins.
Yeah, that's right. And you start to get your stripes as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, your
first
Dan,
second
Dan, yeah.
What about, I'd love to get a piece of advice from you for, anyone who, because a lot of our members are sort of our small 1-2 man teams, or maybe they're thinking of going out on their own. What's sort of one crucial part of advice you could provide for someone who's just starting out that really wants to hit the ground running? How do they navigate the trickiness of starting?
The big one would be find out your why, because it sounds a bit cheesy, but it's true. Like, it's 98% why, 2% how. So if you know what you want, where you're headed, you know what your goal is, then how you get to that goal is just a matter of time, I think. So for the young guys that are starting out in the industry, that are either starting their own businesses or joining a team, or they're just trying to navigate the beginnings, I would say do some self-reflection, do some professional development, keep reading, keep learning, keep open to growth. If you love our industry, it's up to you to help develop yourself. Don't rely on everybody else. You're carving your own way through the jungle of life. You've got your own journey to make. So it really is up to you to constantly be growing and developing and keep asking questions. But it's not easy, but there's lots of tools available to us. And that's the thing, you're not alone. There's plenty of guys out there that sort of struggled and, failed forwards. I'm one of them.
I just one failure away from success.
That's exactly right. I just kept getting up and keep going. We're all human, but having an attitude of humility does go a long way.
And I think we talked about it a little bit at the start, but I'd love to sort of circle back to, we've got a lot of carpenters and builders out there that have families, and we're always interested to know, sort of, with a big family like yours, how do you navigate making sure that you spend enough time with loved ones and get your work done, and sort of still be able to manage everything that you do? Obviously, you lean on Nina, and she's a big help.
Yep, she is.
But how do you? What sort of priorities do you put in place to make sure that you can be there for them?
I'm really glad you asked this question. It's probably one of the biggest ones guys ask, and even in the networking group, they say the same thing. They say, "Oh, why do you turn your phone off at 5 o'clock on a Friday?" I said, because I love my wife. I love my family. As a matter of fact, that's the whole reason I'm doing this. It's not the other way around. So when I started Joseph the Worker, which is what JTW stands for, it was not about me. It was dedicated to St. Joseph the Worker, because we're Catholic. And I made a promise to Nina. I said, I will never work weekends, because I can be a workaholic.
You got that in you.
I've got it in me. Seeing Dad work his guts out. So I said, my commitment to you is that if you support me and help me, which I knew she would, and get behind it, then my commitment is family first. And that was built into the culture of JTW. They never work Saturdays, ever. There's no one on my site on a Sunday. Subbies sometimes try and work on a weekend. I'll probably allow a Saturday, but a Sunday, absolutely not. It's very smart that we have one day of rest. I think it's very providential. We need that to recharge. We can't give 100% if we're running on empty. The dashboard lights are there for a reason. If you're on empty, go and fill up. So I made that dedication to the family, and they're number one. they're my life. It's the whole reason why I started JTW, was to provide not just a good lifestyle and support my family, but to then potentially give them a legacy and an opportunity to come into the business.
Yeah.
And have a succession plan. But if I don't get my priorities right, Matty, it's all down the drain.
Yeah.
You know, I need, in order for me to bring my best, I need to give my best to them. Yeah.
Okay. I love it. I love it. And as a new family man myself, I'm still navigating, you know, the sort of sleepless nights and
Yes.
I don't know, just trying to be the best version of yourself. But you're right, you've got to use the weekends as best you can to recharge and then sort of come back stronger. And you know, I think the one thing that I've sort of been learning recently is sort of service before self, almost. It sounds terrible, but I have things to do and I've got to look after my son, I've got to look after my partner and, you know, make sure that she's okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's, I don't know, there's nothing like feeling like you've done a great job.
Yes.
And I think you get that same satisfaction from building as well, where, you know, it's going to be tough, but if you can come out the other side and you can see what you've done and, you know, you've got happy clients, happy staff as well, you know, you sort of, I guess you've gone through, seen the light.
Yes. Yeah. Well done to you for having a family, because we need more families. we're below repopulation rate. So it's good.
That's right.
Can I just mention a couple of quick tips?
Please, yeah.
Just a few tips, because I want to be practical and, like you say, how do these guys get the balance right?
Yeah.
A couple of things that I really learnt was either have 2 SIMs on your phone, a work SIM and a personal, or have 2 phones, whatever works for you, and put down a process and stick to it. So say, for example, your day starts at 6:30 or 6 and it finishes at 5 or 5:30, whatever your schedule is. Try and stick to it. It's hard, but I know for me, you know, if it runs over 5 o'clock, you know, it puts pressure at the other end on the family. And if I'm not following through on my end of the bargain, it forms challenges in relationships. So switch off.
Yeah.
Switch off to switch on is a great way of looking at it. The other thing would be give people your time frames of when you're available. So if you've got it in your little subject on your signature on your email, put your work hours available, put it on your voicemail. Make sure you put those systems in place to support your family, to insulate your family, to protect them, so that dad's not at the dinner table taking down leads and no.
It's a boundary.
It is exactly right. Yeah, have boundaries is spot on. Otherwise, you will let people just really push you around everywhere and anywhere, and this is the way that, you know, you design your business and the way that you communicate and the hours that you're available.
Well, there's also no reason why you can't, you know, if someone calls you at 7 p.m, you know, unless it's an emergency, there's no real need that it couldn't happen at 9 o'clock the next morning.
Exactly right.
You know, so there's nothing that crazy that's happening where, you know, you would be required, unless there's a flood or there's something going on that you need to attend to. But yeah, I think that's a big one, is setting your boundaries and making sure that you still have time for yourself. Yeah. As well, because you go mad. Yeah, I recently learnt about the Eisenhower matrix. Okay. And it's named after one of the presidents of the United States. And essentially, it's a graph that talks about urgent, important, non-urgent, and not important. Yep. And it's brilliant, because what you think is urgent is not urgent. Unless the house is burning down or there's a flood, it's not urgent. No. You think it's urgent because it's like, I want to do it, but can it be done tomorrow? Yes, it can. Yeah. You know, do I have to break into the family schedule to answer that call or read that email? Probably not. Yeah. So I think you're right. You're saying balance and priorities. That's where it's at. Yeah. Well, I love talking to you today, mate. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for coming on and speaking. I'd love to, like, if anyone wants to find you, any clients, any other builders, carpenters, where can they find you? Yeah, great. So just jump online. JTW Building Group is easy. You'll find us on Instagram. You'll find us on Facebook, LinkedIn. The website's quite good, and you'll see a lot of testimonials and some video value adds as well to help people. And then if you're interested as a tradie, we'd love to have you come down to the Ethical Trades Night. We'd love to see you there if you can spare the time. It's hard during the evenings, but once a quarter, we're just trying to help other trades level up and add value. It's all complementary. So fantastic. And one last thing, what does it mean to have been a member for so long, and sort of what do you think it's brought to you and your business over the years? Yeah, thanks, matey. Definitely support. You know, I think as a single
one-man band, you think you're just so alone and you don't know much about the building industry when you start. So to have that network or family of Carpentry Australia, other businesses, it's great. I'm constantly speaking to other guys, how are you finding this? And it's such a great support network. And I think unless you're part of something like that, you can feel very alone. So I've appreciated the support, and I've appreciated having the resources available, because you're time poor.
Yeah.
And if you've done the work, which clearly, and you guys do great work, very methodical, very professional, so you can see it and you go, this is great, because I can hang my hat on that resource and go to it for industry updates. For SWIM's paperwork, which looks outstanding, stuff like that. So it's the support. Yeah.
I love it. Well, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a really good chat.